trusting our gut is the best decision that we can make when it comes to making decisions. And, I'm talking about here with your health and with your food, but really this goes for everything in your life. This goes for relationships, your job, your work, where you live, everything. If you trust your gut rather than what seems logical or what your whatever celebrity or influencer is doing, if you can trust your gut, you are going to get to where you want to go so much quicker, so much sooner, and enjoy the process so much more. Welcome to Divine Alignment. I'm your host, Jasmine. I'm a holistic nutritionist, energy healer, and hypnotherapist. I help you awaken your inner healer through holistic health and nutrition, along with expanding your consciousness. Through raising the vibration of your thoughts and health, I want you to have divine alignment in your mind, body, and soul. Let's go to the show. Hello, beautiful souls. I hope you're all having an amazing day wherever you are tuning in from. And today I really wanted to talk about something that has been really present for me in my life. And I thought that you guys could benefit from it as well. And it's this idea of reading food labels versus listening to our intuition. So this concept of listening to our heads versus our body. And this has become actually really present in my life lately. So I have, and I don't want to say the name of the product or the company or whatever, because it's honestly irrelevant. But I have been taking this product, this food, for a long time now. It's been a staple in my diet, and I've been consuming it basically on a daily basis. And on the food label, it's perfect. Like, it has great nutrition panel. So when I read the ingredients are super clean. The nutrition profile is amazing. It's good quality, organic, all of these things, non-GMO. And so my head, intellectually, I have been saying, oh, this is good for me. And I have been consuming this for years now. And recently, I have been experiencing some things with my skin and my energy levels and just things. And I'm just like, gosh, like it has to be, something just feels off. And so whenever something like that happens, I always look to my diet first. I think that there's a lot of places to start and look at, but diet is always the number one easiest thing I believe to address. That's really how I stepped into the realm of health and wellness. And I think that our diet is really foundational. And when we take care of our body, we can really then begin to focus on expanding our spirit and awareness. So I always say take care of the physical, and then we can expand the emotional, energetic, spirit, those things. So anyway, so I've been feeling off, and I was like, gosh, what could it be? So I started looking at everything in my diet, and I, honestly, this one thing was the last thing that I thought of because I've been consuming this for so long. So there's two things here. There's the first of all, our bodies are not meant to consume anything forever, except for water and vegetables, but still we should switch up our vegetables and fruits and sources of protein and carbs and all of it. We were not meant to eat anything every single day forever. We really should be getting variety is how we get different nutrients in our body and different nutritional benefits and all of that. And so I've been taking this, like I said, for years now, and I never really questioned it. And recently, since I've been getting these things with my health, I figured, well, maybe so here's the thing that and I really, this is kind of what I want to encourage all of you to do, was I started getting signs that maybe this product isn't the best for me anymore. So the first one is I had one, what was it? Oh, I saw a bad review. I saw a bad review of this product. And I've only up until this point seen really great reviews of it. And so I saw that bad review and that kind of just like placed in my head. And this is just me trusting my intuition and kind of just, I firmly believe that everything is a sign and our job is just to take inventory of signs. Everything is, the universe, God is always conspiring in our favor and trying to help us and trying to lead us. And so this was kind of like the first thing that came up for me when I saw this. When I saw this bad review, I thought, that's weird. I have only heard amazing things about this product until right now. That kind of like planted the seed. And then what else happened? I had one, and all of a sudden it like smelled really off because I had like multiple of them, and one of them smelled really off, and I was like, well, that's strange. I've never experienced that before, so I ended up throwing it away. The third one was honestly just for a little while I've just been getting this weird feeling every time I used it or had consumed it. It just was like, gosh, I don't know, like it's something just feels off. And, you know, that type of thing we can't really explain or understand. We just know. So I began to really take a step back and think, okay, like what, like let me just try and get it out of my diet for a few weeks. And that's what I really tell all of my clients, is that we need to take about 3 to 4 weeks of removing something to really see if it makes a difference in the body, especially things like gluten and stuff like that, because it can get stuck in the gut. I know this isn't like the best picture, but some of these food particles can get stuck in the gut, and then what will happen is then you will, let's say, consume. So I've heard this story so many times. It's, well, I just had an apple and I felt so sick, or I just had a banana, or I just had like a celery, or something like very simple on the stomach, or I just had rice and I got the worst stomach ache. And what I like to tell people is that it doesn't mean that that's what it was, because it can activate something that is stuck in your gut. For instance, gluten. So if you have had gluten earlier that day, or even the day before, or the day before, eating can trigger that lodged food to cause you upset again. So I always say at least 3 to 4 weeks to really know if we are allergic or responding negatively to something. So anyways, but I decided to take it out, and honestly after a week, all of a sudden I started feeling so much better. And this was such confirmation to me that, one, my intuition was leading me down the right path, and to always, always, always trust your intuition. And two, this idea that just because the package of something says that it is good, does not mean it is good for you. So let me say that another way. So just because the nutrition panel is amazing, just because so-and-so celebrity or influencer says this is amazing, just because your doctor says this is amazing, just because Dr. Oz or Mind Body Green or Well and Good, just because anything or anyone says that this food or supplement is good for you, does not mean it is good for you. Our bodies are all so unique and so different, and that's such a beautiful thing. So yes, absolutely, like certain foods have higher amounts of vitamin C, and some things have greater amounts of iron or B vitamins, all of these things. This is of course true, but that doesn't mean that it resonates energetically with your body. And so often we see just like, oh, well, if I just eat like this person, then I can look like them, or I can get the body I want, or I can feel the way that I want. And even the healthiest foods might not be healthy for us, for you. And that was really hard for me to wrap to wrap my head around, because for the longest time we are all told, like salads are good and we need to eat vegetables, and now we're even learning that certain vegetables are bad for certain people, and that's kind of a whole nother topic, because I think that that can be misconstrued as far as lectins and nightshades and all of these things. Ideally, I don't think that we should, one, be eating anything every day forever, and two, tune in and trust your intuition, trust your gut. And so I think that always start with your head, always start with your mind when you are making a decision. I think, yes, absolutely. Like if you're at the grocery store and you are reading a food label, that's great. But I encourage you to check in with your body. How does it feel? Do you get this visceral reaction of, ooh, that makes my soul feel expansive, or that makes me feel good? Or does it feel like something is off? We oftentimes just I don't believe we are trusting ourselves enough. And really, truly, no one knows your body as well as you do. No doctor, no influencer, no celebrity, no friend, parent, loved one. No one knows your body like you. And so at the end of the day, the only person who can make you healthy, make you feel well, who can help you heal is you. All of these pieces of advice that we pick up on our path from our doctor, from our coworkers, from our friends, all of these are just information, and our job is to feel into how that feels in our body. Does that make you feel good, or does it make you feel like maybe that's not for me? And if this intuition around food is something that you struggle with, I know that for me, um, feeling how I felt about food, I was so disconnected from my body for so long. And so I get that this isn't an easy place to start for everyone. I get that. And especially if you struggled with an eating disorder or disordered eating, or honestly even had really bad digestive issues, it can be hard to tune into the body because we've tried to disconnect from it for so long. What I recommend you do, if this is where you're at, is start with just give it a try. Just give it a try. And if someone says something, or if you are trying to figure out if a food is right for you, give it a try. And if you're trying to determine if a food isn't right for you, give it a try of eliminating it. Like I said, for 3 to 4 weeks. And just see. Just see. We can go with anything except for water for, 3 to 4 weeks. We have so many other options. And then as you begin to do this, begin to strengthen your muscle of your intuition of, does this feel good in my body? Does this feel expansive? Does this feel like it's something my body wants? I think this also goes back to this idea that just because so-and-so needs this amount of protein or carbs or fats or whatever it is, or just because this person can eat sugar and gluten and dairy, all of these things, it does not mean that that is true for us. And I think that once true power and true health means tuning in to our own vibrational thermometer, our own vibrational compass of what is it that resonates in harmony in our body. what does our body need? And this conversation can go way beyond food. This can go into relationships, into our work, into where we live. All of these things, every single thing, just because it is in alignment for one person does not mean it is in alignment for us. And I really, gosh, I see so much of this now, especially on social media. There's so many people they see these people that they look up to and they think, oh, well, if so and so is doing it, then I should do it because I like them and it made them look good or it made them feel good. So it must make me feel good. And I see that the more time we spend on social media and engaging, the more disconnected we become from ourselves, the further away we get from home. Because we innately know exactly what we need. We truly do. And I think that it's as if we've given our power away in some ways because we just want other people to figure it out for us, and then we'll just do it the way that they do or the way our doctor tells us to. But really, that's not may not be the best decision or the best answer for us. So I really just want to empower you because even when choosing a doctor or a nutritionist or a functional medicine doctor or an acupuncturist or chiropractor, even these decisions, these people who will lead you to healing and health, it's so important to tune into what you feel in your body. And that is how we heal. That is how we make decisions and decide what feels best in our body. Because I believe that the biggest disservice that we can do is to consume things out of fear or out of punishment or out of this idea that so-and-so is doing it, so it must be good for me, because this might not be the case. And this is a beautiful thing, you guys, because we are all so different. And I think that that is one of the most amazing things, is that we are all so different. And that's what makes all of us be able to come together in a beautiful way and create this microcosm of different talents and different strengths and just different. It's okay. And the more that we can embrace just being different and being okay with that, the more we can heal and the more we can increase our body's vibration and increase our body's way to feel. And another tool tip that I actually use for this, which has really changed my life and has changed my clients, helps me with my clients a ton, is muscle testing. This is definitely a more like woo way of doing things, but I'm all into the woo. So I have been doing muscle testing for a while now, and how I got into it actually was my part of my journey. I went to doctor after doctor after doctor after doctor, and no one could really figure out what was going on with my health. And it wasn't until I saw someone who practiced kinesiology. I was not familiar with this term at all, and until I saw this woman, and she practiced kinesiology. And this is different from the sports kinesiology. This is muscle testing, so for health. So testing things energetically to see if it resonates with our body. And so for those of you who are not familiar with kinesiology or muscle testing, it's this idea that we hold something or put something within our vibrational field. We hold it, we put it in our mouth, or I just have people hold it. And you will test a muscle to see if it goes weak. Starting out, it's much easier to do this with a practitioner or with someone, and you will hold out your arm and you will hold it and you will ask your body, is this good for me? And well, first of all, you ask, give me a yes, give me a no, and then you will see if your arm goes weak. Test to see, typically yes is strong and no goes weak. And so if you hold a supplement or hold a food and say, is this good for me? And if you hold strong, it's good for you. And if it is not, you go weak. I've learned, I was actually taught by this naturopath that I saw, because I just saw how much it changed my life and my healing. Because so often we go to doctors and they're like, well, your blood pressure is high, so you probably should eat this. Or actually, doctors don't doctors don't even know. Fun fact, doctors are not trained in nutrition, so they do not recommend foods for healing. They will just like say, well, this prescription is good, or whatever, or the statin, or whatever they say. But even a lot of like regular, like even good doctors who don't use muscle testing, they still just say, well, for people with this food is good. And that might not be the case for you. And so I think that testing it energetically is an amazing way to test for seeing if foods resonate with our body. And to be honest, there's not a day that goes by that I don't use muscle testing, because I check everything. So it's kind of crazy that I didn't check that food that I was talking about earlier, that I didn't do that sooner. But I muscle test everything now, whether it's like testing something to see if it's still good, or if I often do this with my supplements to see how many I should take, to see which ones I need that day. And that's another thing too, is that we go and we get these supplements and then we're just told like, oh, just stay on them forever, or 10 a day, or 2 a day, or whatever. But our bodies are never in a stagnant state. Our bodies are always changing. We're always being exposed to new things. We're always consuming new things. I mean, our cells are turning over daily. And so to think that we would need the same supplements, the same amount of supplements, the same foods every single day is the craziest thing. And so for me, I muscle test every day. Like, do I need 1 of these, 2 of these, 3 of these, whatever it is? And sometimes my body doesn't want any supplements, and that's okay. And like that is something that I think we need to honor, and we need to just trust. We just need to trust our body, because again, this is just going back to our body knows so much more than our mind does. And so, earlier I said start with your mind, but honestly, I actually think start with your body, because our minds can help us, but whatever your gut feeling is going to be always the best feeling. I've never heard anyone say, I went with my gut and it proved me wrong, or it put me in the wrong direction. No, you always hear people say, I'm glad I trusted my gut, or I wish I would have trusted my gut. And that's because it's this interesting thing about how we say trusting our gut, because our gut literally has like millions of receptors, that far more than our brain. And so our gut is our second brain. And 70% of our serotonin and neurotransmitters are actually made in our gut. So the reason why we have neurotransmitters in our brain is because they're being made and produced in the gut. So at least 70% of them. So trusting our gut is the best decision that we can make when it comes to making decisions. And, I'm talking about here with your health and with your food, but really this goes for everything in your life. This goes for relationships, your job, your work, where you live, everything. If you trust your gut rather than what seems logical, or what your whatever celebrity or influencer is doing, if you can trust your gut, you are going to get to where you want to go so much quicker, so much sooner, and enjoy the process so much more. So that is it from me. Let me know your experiences with trusting your gut, with maybe foods that you thought were good for you but maybe weren't. I would love to know. Leave me a comment on Instagram stories. Let me know that you're listening, and let me know if this has come up for you, or if you've had this experience. And until next time, I am sending you love and infinite light. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, share it with a friend. It really is together that we grow. Also, please head on over to iTunes and leave me a review. I would be so grateful. And lastly, take a screenshot, let me know you're listening, and tag me on Instagram stories at I am Jasmine Elise. And until next time, I'm sending you infinite love and light.